George Soros, story comes out with Politico. Gave $10 million check for California for redistricting campaign. That's totally fine. You want to give money for that? Totally get it. Keep the state 48-4 when it comes down to Congress. Representatives, fine. However, the Daily Caller does a story saying explosive report alleges George Soros doled out $80 million to leftist group glorifying terrorism and violence. Okay, Rob, if you want to go to the story, I don't think you have a video on this, so I'll just read the story and then I'll come back to you. And I have a question for all of you, okay? So, this is George Soros. Billionaire mega donor George Soros has funneled more than $80 million to organizations that praise terrorists or urge protect violence in America, according to a new report by Capital Research Center, CRC. The report said that through his Open Society Foundation, they distributed tens of millions of dollars to groups that engage in or endorse actions that meet the FBI's definition of domestic terrorism. So, again, let me read that. Has distributed tens of millions of dollars to groups that engaged or endorse actions that meet the FBI's definition of domestic terrorism. The revelations come as authorities investigate left-wing organization for possible connection to the September 10th murder of Turning Point USA at Utah Valley University. Since 2020, Open Society Foundation has given $400,000 to the Center for Third World Organization, which boasts it's threw down with people in the streets. During the George Floyd riots, CRC noted that CTWO, which is the Center for Third World Organizing, has consolidated radical groups into its hub, including the Ruckus Society, whose founders and training materials endorse tactics that may be outside of the law. CRC says the network also includes the Blackout Collective, which co-authored a pro-Hamas guide that glorifies October 7th attacks and references a Ruckus Society manual promoting tactics like property destruction and blockades. Okay, you're following it so far, what's being said. The Open Society Foundation has provided $1.85 million to Dream Defenders and $18 million to Movement for Black Lives Matter, which collaborated with Blackout Collective to create the Pro-Hamas Guide. According to CRC's report, Soros Foundation has given $200,000 to dissenters, co-author of the alleged Pro-Hamas Guide. So, there's a question for you, Tom. Is this legal to be able to do so? And what are the laws of if I give money, and I'm actually really curious, because Soros, his lawyers, you're going to have good lawyers, and I'm just thinking from the lawyer, if I'm his lawyer, I just give money. I don't know what they're going to do with the money.
Yeah.
My job is to just give money. We're just giving, we give away to hundreds of charities. They happen to do something like this. We, of course, don't support something like this, but they did it. Tom.
So it is illegal to incent violence, number one.
Illegal.
Illegal. It's illegal to incent violence.
Is it illegal to give money to a charity that does?
Well, now you've got the slippery slope. Oh, well, our intense title of our charity doesn't mean that we're using money to buy guns. Well, I think everybody knows what's going on here with Soros. There is a reason he's not welcome in his own home country, and he's exactly what he's doing. So the legality or illegality of that, it says I think that there is just a thin hairline between what he's doing and legality, but they are so careful the way they do it, from what jurisdiction and how they do it. I believe that some of the stuff is not legal because they're inciting violence very specifically. And I don't think that can possibly be legal under the constitutional framework about within freedom of speech and not inciting violence. I don't see how it can be, but he's so careful, Pat. We've seen how they give it through the dark funds and through the back door and through the PACs that don't have to disclose where it comes from. And then you have he allegedly gave 400 here. We know what he's all about. And so I think he's guilty because we know what he's all about. He wants to go to globalism where the world is controlled by socialist elites. That is his defined destination. He's very clear about that. And so, therefore, how do you destabilize all these governments? You have to destabilize them. And what do you do with an election? I don't think so. You have to do it with violence. Wait, I've got an idea. What if I give money to district attorneys that won't prosecute people for violence?
Weird.
Now I can give to violence and make sure that there's limited penalties. So I don't see how it can't be illegal. And I'd like to see somebody, with some hair on their chest, and I don't mean that,
Middle Eastern.
I'm not being misogynist. I mean,
relax,
somebody
dude,
needs to
relax.
someone needs to muscle up and stand up.
Anybody, though. It doesn't have to be Middle Eastern.
Somebody
that has the brass is what you're
Or with
saying.
hair on their chest.
You have to have hair on your chest, right?
Some
go that way.
women,
Yeah.
some
Someone
women have
who's
hair on
got
their chest these
how
days.
about the guts and the courage,
that's
And the
what I'm-
balls.
male
How
or
about the
female,
balls?
Yeah.
to walk to the podium and say, hang on a second, we're going to investigate all these things, and this stuff may be illegal. And Mr. Soros, maybe not only can you not step foot in Hungary, maybe there's a day where you don't want to step foot in the United States because you don't want to get arrested. But the goal is globalism and social elite run by social elites, and destabilization is the tool. And so funding the people that cause this in the street.
And you always wonder, like, the majority of the time, all the roads to me lead back to this guy. And guys, if you watched a movie, Rob, like a movie, and you're like, who's the bad guy? Rob, can you put that zoom in on the one on the left? Like, look at the face. That's the face. When people are like, okay,
I would
the
pick Klaus Schwab over him, but he's there.
Klaus Schwab is bad, but
'Cause he
that
sounds
guy,
worse.
but that, like, every time you figure out who's paying, who was giving this guy money, who was doing this, and these are the people that want to destroy the country. But you know what I don't want? They keep hinting. Trump was hinting at it. Trump got the tweet about Pam Bondi, like, hey, Pam, I'm getting messages from people that are saying you're not going after all these people. And then he kind of is nice to her. We want accountability, and I keep hearing this guy's name. I keep hearing the destructive behavior, the giving the money. Let's call a spade a spade. We know what he's doing, and we know. But Adam, you want to talk about hating America? That's the guy. That's the guy. And guess what? His son seems to me that he's going to be carrying the torch when he's done. But that's the face.
Yeah, all I'm trying to find out is, so you got the Crockett's, you got all these
Yes.
guys that are there,
Yes.
right? Okay. And then you got the guy from the top that's giving money. Like you heard the one lady that was giving a speech. She said, well, Charlie one day came to me and she said he wanted $50,000 to start. I'm like, you go raise half, I'll give you the other half. Within 2 days, he comes back saying, I raised a 25, he gets to 25. And then now
Millions.
we've given him millions of dollars, right? So yes, there is people that you're going to go and raise money with. And
Stacey
people who
Sheridan,
give
I
money.
believe was her name.
Rebecca Dunn. I think?
Rebecca Dunn.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
and
what that
people
was?
who
Okay.
give money, why do they give money? You give money to a charity either because you believe in the charity,
Yep.
you give money to a charity because you have certain things that you like to happen, or you give money to charity because you want to be involved in certain things that's going to happen. You're going to sit at this table. You're going to be at this thing. Like these are different kind of things that they're doing. I'm trying to find out if somebody is given this kind of money that's leading to protesting and rioting and destroying the streets, why don't we crack down on that, Tom? Why don't we crack down on the person that's funding all the protests and the riots that are taking place?
I think the problem is, and I'd love to get a constitutional scholar here, and I can dive in even deeper. So why was it important for Trump to call, remember when he called the cartels foreign terrorist organization, FTOs? Yeah. Right, because now you're an enemy of the United States. Whose pen can now go after you?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Can he send helicopters over there with the cooperation of the foreign government to go blow up your drug lab or
Your drug boat?
or exactly, or maybe something on Mexican soil if you had cooperation? So that's illegal, Pat, and you're an enemy of the United States. The problem is domestic terrorism. There is no that I'm aware of a legal way to say, well, you're a domestic terrorist other than words. There's not a law that says domestic terrorism, you can't fund it. And then they say, well, I'm funding freedom of speech. And if some of them get out of hand and light a fire in the middle of the street and burn a flag, that's freedom of expression. So, Pat, they kind of hide behind it. I think there's a difference between foreign terrorist organizations, which we did with the cartels, and domestic terrorist organization. And I think that there's a caution. Here's my speculation. If I'm president and I'm on the right and I call you a domestic terrorist organization. Now I can take action against you. I'm only 6 seconds from the next election.
Totally.
And then him saying, all conservative churches are now domestic terrorist organizations. And I don't think we want to put that law at the hand of a partisan pen, because the pendulum will swing back and forth like it has on this freedom of speech things when the Democrats didn't go to boomerang safety training and are getting hit by the same boomerang they were throwing asking to cancel Trump.
So I just ask this question. What if you give money to a charity that commits violence? If you go a little bit lower, there is an article under U.S. law, 18 USC, and then it gives the whole details of what the number is. It's a crime to knowingly provide material support, money, training, and resources to a group that engages in terrorism or violence.
Knowingly, so you were
But
right.
it's knowingly.
But so he could play dumb.
So
and
then
say,
you have to prove knowingly, right? Material support includes donations, equipment, or even services. If a donor knows the organization commits or plans violence, they can face prosecution. Unknowing support, if you give to a large foundation, another charity, and you have no knowledge of what they're going to be doing with it, you're not criminally held liable. So this is the part where a good lawyer will defend you and say, no, I didn't know that this was taking place. Because it's going to continue happening.
Let me tell you.
It's going to continue happening. The fact that nothing happened this Sunday, I am so surprised. Whether you want to give credit, cops were everywhere. Secret Service everywhere. Military everywhere. Everywhere you went, you saw guys with the black glasses everywhere. You look left and right.
A lot of
everywhere,
that
right?
earpieces.
Adam, thoughts on this before we move
George
on?
Soros and his whole organization needs to be looked into and hopefully held accountable, dismantled at the most. Because, you know, and we can play this clip. Charlie Kirk talks about the difference between liberals and leftists, right? There's liberals, there's progressives, there's leftists, there's the far left, there's the radical left, then there's communists, and there's Marxists. I'll ask you where you think George Soros falls and who he contributes to. Just like there's conservatives, just there's like the Republicans, and then there's white nationalists and KKK and the far right. You know, we got to be careful with painting with broad strokes. But if we're going to label the KKK domestic terrorist and neo-Nazis domestic terrorists, what's the left version of that? Antifa? Whatever Soros has contributed to. So let's not play this game of like, oh, I didn't know what I was. You know exactly what you're doing. They all show up with the exact same sign, with the exact same protest, with the Free Palestine, with the BLM, and they want to see America burn, and they want to take down the West. And we can't just sit here and capitulate and be like, freedom of speech, bro. He needs to be held accountable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, to me, I'm just trying to see if it's allowed and you keep doing it, guess what? This is not going to stop.
Yep.
But if they investigate and they see that there is intent and you know it's happening, then there's a different conversation. Something special happened last week. Before we went to the memorial, Vinny had a new collection. And we just got a report from Leo how successful that collection was. I'm going to have Vinny say a few thoughts and few words about the Faith Over Fear. Vinny, share with them why you're excited about this shirt.
Oh, I mean, I think
we rarely do back-to-back.
I don't think we ever have done back-to-back.
But it's such a big hit, especially with the timing of it.
But so as you guys can tell, you know, cross on the front, Faith on the Fear on the back. I wore this on Sunday, and I went to a diner, and I'm sitting there. Guys, a guy pats me on the back, sits down next to me, starts telling a story about his faith and his family, starts crying. A waitress comes, and she's just sitting there. Her name is Mary, sitting there staring at me. I'm at Lester's Diner. I had 5 people around me talking about faith and something is happening, Pat. I got emotional walking in here today with you and crying. And guys, just having faith, okay? Matt Sapala, you mind if I say?
Crazy.
Guys, Matt Sapala is a huge, big time, loyal, amazing guy and friend with his wife Sheena. Dude, he just got on a plane, literally flew to Arizona. No joke. I think, Pat, you're gonna send it to Rob. Guys, he flies to Arizona, nothing, no ticket.
He has no way to get in.
He has no way to get in.
Yeah.
He texts back, goes, I'm here. Guys, and Rob, how many people were walking around outside?
Well, they said that there were around 100,000 in the area. There were 60,000 inside the stadium, so 40,000 walking around trying to find a way to get in.
We're driving in circles. We don't know where we're going.
And out of nowhere, we see Matt Sapala.
Now Pat goes, hey, there's Matt right there.
There he is. And by long story short, we get him in the vehicle,
walking on the
and he goes,
sidewalk.
and Pat goes, what are you doing here? No wife, no. He's like,
He said faith over fear.
No, he goes, I just had faith that God, something told me just get on an airplane and go. And he goes, here I am. And he got in our van, and we got him in, and the word faith jumped out. I go, see how God works.
Security, the whole nine.
So guys, so the thing behind it is just having faith over fear. We don't know, none of us saw Jesus Christ, but I have faith because I've heard the stories, and I believe in my heart of hearts, and never, guys, all this stuff, everything that happened with Charlie, zero fear. And we found out that Charlie, God rest his soul, died instantly, and I have faith that in that instant second, he was with Jesus, and he was with God in heaven. So that's it, guys. So faith over fear. Let people know that I'm not scared. We're not scared about nothing. Zero, because we have faith. Period.
Go to vtmerch.com, place your order. Faith over fear. Rob, can we make sure we put the if you can go to the website so I can show exactly where it's at and they can find it. You literally go to vtmerch.com, and it's the first thing we have there. Go on the collection. There's multiple colors. The white.
Apparently the red is doing really good.
Yeah. Go whichever color
Look
you
at that
want. You
one.
pick and choose gray. Get your shirt represent. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.